Welcome to Karaoke Night. Come in and say hi. You know we're gonna have a good time every Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Welcome to Karaoke Live. Come in and say hi. You know we're gonna have a good time every Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Welcome. Like a small boat on the ocean, sending big waves in the motion. Like how a single word can make a heart open. I might only have one match, but I can make an explosion. And all those things I didn't say, wrecking ball inside my brain. I will scream them out tonight. Can you hear my voice this time? This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned on, starting right now. I'll be strong. I'll play my fight song, and I don't really care if nobody else believes, 'cause I still got a lot of fight left in me. Losing friends and I'm losing sleep. Everybody's worried about me. In too deep, say I'm in too deep. And it's been 2 years, I miss my home. But there's a fire burning in my bones. I still believe, yeah, I still believe. And all those things I didn't say, wrecking ball inside my brain. I will scream them out tonight. Can you hear my voice this time? This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned on, starting right now. I'll be strong. I'll play my fight song, and I don't really care what nobody else believes, 'cause I still got a lot of fire left in me. A lot of fire left in me. Like a small boat on the ocean, sending big waves into motion. Like how a single word can make a heart open. I might only have one match, but I can make an explosion. This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned on, starting right now. I'll be strong. I'll play my fight song. I don't really care if nobody else believes, 'cause I've still got a lot of fire left in me. Now I've still got a lot of fire left in me. And that was Rachel Platoon's fight song. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Karaoke Live Friday Night Live. Sorry for starting late. There was some technical difficulties. The stream, I'm going to turn on the light back here just so you guys can see me better. All right. And tonight's theme is self-determination night. What is self-determination, and how can we do more of it and implement it into our lives, into our relationships, and be the people that we want to be, and also live up to our full potential? How do we do that? And so tonight is very special because I'm going to have a great interview for you with none other than my boyfriend, Justin Arnwine. So it's going to be a really great interview, and then more songs after the interview as well. So I just wanted to get you all started, riled up with Fight Song. So my guest for tonight is Justin Arnwine, like I said. Um, and if you're watching this on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, then he really needs no introduction. For those who don't know him, um, the Justin Bot, aka Justin Arnwine, he is the show scriptwriter for 1450 WOL Radio 1 broadcast Igniting Change. He's a performer, a writer, and assistant director of the music video Hello Kitty Everything, which is our most viewed video. And he, of course, is my boyfriend. He's a professional poker player. He's a television show maven, lover of superhero movies, political analyst, and healthy lifestyle enthusiast, Justin Arnwine. And here he is right now. Please welcome Justin Arnwine. Justin, you can just sit right here. Hey, how you doing tonight?
Hi. Okay, I'm doing fine.
Speaking of Mike. So tonight, like I said, we're going to talk about self-determination. Now, Justin, what makes you an expert on the subject? Why did I call you here
today? That would probably lead into that healthy lifestyle enthusiast, which started off when I was in my early 20s about like actually exercising a lot and eating healthy. But as I turned 30, I started to realize that we also as a whole society started to learn a lot more about mental health, and that it's not enough to just, keep your body strong and, keep your digestive system clean. That also if you allow negative elements to enter into your mind, then you can get sick even though you're completely healthy. So I started to look into the mental element of it. And one of the first things you learn about is self-determination. And the definition of self-determination is the process by which a person controls their own life.
Now, it's interesting because when you talk about the definition of self-determination, I read in the book No Excuses that they kind of just define self-determination as when you do stuff, you have this willpower to do stuff even when you don't have any motivation to do so. Yet other sources that we've recently watched have said basically the opposite, that no, you are supposed to find a reason to do the stuff that you don't want to do. So what would you say self-determination is?
Well, you kind of want to split the difference. In reality, in practical practice, it's pretty hard to like force yourself to do something you don't want to do just because a book told you to do. But also in practice, it is incredibly difficult to hold yourself to these largely, unpracticed ideals that are like the highest standard of living. It's very, very hard not to get upset when you're stuck in traffic. Like it's as a person, you can read all the great, writings you want. It's like when it happens to you and you're running late, like the temptation is to cuss.
Yeah.
It's like, so it's very, you don't want to tell yourself like you're a failure because you got upset when you were stuck in traffic. But at the same time, you don't want to force yourself to do all these things that you definitely don't want to do just because, a book told you to do them.
So what would you say the definition is?
So long story short, you want to always feel like you have agency, like you have an ability to have an impact on, at the bare minimum, your own circumstances. And that doesn't mean you can just do whatever you want. But what it means is that no one can actively force you to do something you don't want to do. They maybe, if the power went out right now and the lights cut off and someone from Pepco gave us an ominous call and said, Caitlin, I want you to do karaoke live tonight on on what's going on between France and America women's soccer. or else, power doesn't turn back on. It's like, okay, they have the ability to stop you from doing your show on self-determination, right? Mm-hmm. By cutting off the power. But even with that, they cannot force you to do the show about soccer. You have the right to refuse and just have no show. You have the right to say, no, this is my show. If you want to stop me from putting it on, fine. But I'm not doing it on what you want me to do it on.
Mm.
You know, when you see a political analyst say this politician is not going to get elected because they won't campaign like,
right.
It's like, fine, then I won't get elected. But I will absolutely refuse to let you tell me how to campaign.
Mm. And why should people practice any form of self-determination? Like what things in our life will improve? Like the reason that I've really started to get into self-determination and stuff is just to, because all of us feel like we have like our own potential, and even though other people are like, no, you're doing a job, it's like, that doesn't matter. But then only put 99. We all know potential, and then we see like getting what I want and things like that, or why am I still this way? That's what leads a lot of self-determination. So, what was your journey like, and why about self-determination?
Well, first I'll start on why people back to the president is high level, right?
Right.
Do everything that you're to teach you how to make people love you, tell you to do, and then you lose anyway. Well, now you truly feel like a failure.
Right.
You know, you accomplished nothing. And not only that, you had to compromise yourself in the process. Whereas, had you stayed true to who you were, even if you failed, all that new support you gained was support for something that you truly believed in. So you get to define what giving 100% of your effort is. You know, some people might say that person didn't get 100% of their effort. They should have hired consultants who told them how to campaign. It's like, no, they gave 100% of their effort. They were honest with the electorate. They told them exactly what they would do, and the electorate rejected it, but they gave 100%. That's what self-determination is. You don't let other people define for you what you're supposed to be, who you're supposed to love, what job profession you're supposed to enjoy. It's like, if you want to be an artist and you start from the place of, I want to paint, you know, I make money so that I can pay my bills, you know, have a roof over my head so that I can paint. The number one priority, though, is to paint.
Right.
You know, it's like, it doesn't matter if you only have one customer and no one else in the world knows your name. If that one customer gives you the same amount of money you would make, you know, like at your job, therefore, instead of going to the job that you hate every day, you can afford to live your life as a painter, then you are a success. It doesn't matter that no one will ever regard you as Picasso, because your goal was to spend your life painting, and now that's what you get to do. And if one day someone else discovers you and you end up becoming a millionaire and famous, gravy, that's all wonderful, but that's not the goal, because you have no control over that. You have no control over whether your ideas flourish, you know, to the maximum level. All you can control is your effort, your enthusiasm, your passion. So it's a lot better that you take the responsibility of, here's what I really want to do. So let me make sure that I give it 100%. And then you're not a failure, regardless of the results.
And doesn't this bring into the conversation about stoicism? And then I also want you to highlight, I mean, you've told us a little bit about your journey and why you got into it, but lately you've really been on this big binge of watching like self-help YouTube channels and reading like the 48 Laws of Power, and together, of course, like The Obstacle is the Way, and several other books as well. self-help books. So, like, what was your journey like to get to this point? And also, what about stoicism? Because when you're talking about the way people feel and what makes us a success or not, and not letting what other people say bother us, you're also talking about stoicism.
Well, like any other person, I was largely influenced by my environment. And my environment was actually a bunch of kids who would play things like Mortal Kombat. And then when they lose, they would throw down the controller and go, they cheating. Mm. So I sort of adopt, while I never found it a rational thing to throw down the controller and say they cheating.
Right.
Who is they? Why are they cheating? Like, but when every single person you know operates in that way, you will then pick up those unhealthy behaviors. Mm. So when I first started to play strategy games like the Pokemon card game or Magic the Gathering or Yu-Gi-Oh!, you have a lot of control. Like, sure, you can draw bad, but it doesn't happen that often. Most of the time, if you're better than your opposition, you're going to win. Mm-hmm. And then when you don't win, you throw down your deck and you yell, they cheated. And that's what people did in those games. That's what they did. When they lose, they didn't go, I got outplayed. They said, they cheated. But once I started to play poker, that's when everything changed, because there are filters that actually make it impossible for they to cheat. And at some point, you have to accept that you did everything you were supposed to do, and it still didn't work out. Like, you went all in with aces. They called you with kings, and a king came. You know, and if you play long enough, sometimes you'll be the person calling with kings and you'll get the king. You made the wrong decision, but it worked out for you. And you have to learn to accept that. You have to learn that you can do everything right and still not get the desired outcome. And you have to eventually, if you want to, so a lot of people burn out when they try to turn professional in poker because they just can't handle the swings. But in order to stay consistent, in order to stay with it, you have to eventually make the decision that this is a game of decisions. All I can do is make the correct decision. It's not my goal to determine how the cards come out. And stoicism was so interesting to me because that's how they were saying, like, no, Justin, that's not just how poker is. That's how life is. You know, if you set out to leave for your flight 2 hours in advance, and then while on the road, you get a flat tire because something fell out of someone's car who was in front of you, you're going to miss your plane today. You did nothing wrong. But it's not the end of the world. You don't shout and scream and kick your car and yell, they cheating. Who is they? Why are they cheating? You know, it's like we've all been driving or riding in a car and seen a person pulled over to the shoulder of the road. You know, not always in a car accident, just pulled over, flat tire, whatever. And none of us stop to think like that person's going to be late to pick up their child. You know, that person might miss an opportunity that they've been preparing for months.
Right.
Because of this unintended, unexpected incident.
And so where does stoicism come in that situation?
Stoicism is saying to you that if you left 2 hours in advance, you know, if you checked your tires and they weren't flat before you left,
right,
then the fact that you were riding behind someone whose trunk popped open and something fell out, that's not anything to lose perspective about. That's not anything you're not cursed. The world is not against you because this unexpected thing happened to you that interfered with your plans. We all, as we live, as we go about our life, we see people who are in situations that there's no way they could have expected. We all, if you walk down the streets of any city, you'll see someone holding a cup who is homeless. like that person did not plan that.
Right.
You know, like if when you see, like I said, when you're driving and you see someone pulled over on the shoulder of the road, they did not plan that. They have somewhere they need to be. You know, it's like, but they're not cursed. When you see that, you don't think that person's cursed. So why then, when it happens to us, do we feel like some witch can use the spell and specifically aimed it in our direction? It's illogical.
That's a really good point, because Stoicism pretty much teaches that perception, our own perception, is everything, and some things bad. I mean, things are bad and good, but also we can make it worse with our own thoughts and stuff. We get wrapped in our own head and make things worse, or we can choose the way we look at things, though. Like, you can choose to look at a fire like consuming your buildings and freak out. But what is freaking out going to do? Maybe you'll never see a fire like that again. So it's better to just hug someone near you and be like, look at that fire. And the next day, then you can deal with it, because there's nothing you can do about the fire then if all the firefighters are there and all the appropriate things have already been. Why stress yourself even more? And that's a concept that's in Ryan Holiday, right?
Yeah.
In his book, The Obstacle is. So what is the first step people should take towards self-determination? And what rewards might come if they start to have control over their own perception, start to practice things like self-determination and stoicism? And also, like, how has that helped in your life, reading the 48 Laws of Power and your journey?
Well, a big reward is having a positive influence on others. Like a lot of us look at leadership as kind of a burden. You know, it's like, oh, I don't know who would sign up to do that. You know, but it's like, in reality, it's like whenever you have someone on your left and someone on your right, and they're looking at you, that's an opportunity to set an example. So just by dealing with things in the most optimal way in front of other people, you're actually making the world a better place. If any of those two people on your left or your right adopt your philosophy, we need less people throwing down the controller and saying they cheating. You know, we want less. Every time you see that, I mean, sometimes it's you and you don't feel good when you do it. You're only doing it because you saw other people do it. But never in life do we want to watch a competition, see, regardless of whether one team suffered injuries or not, at the end of the game, we want to see the two teams shake hands.
Right.
Right? None of us think it's cool when at the end of a competition, some player throws, like their helmet.
Right.
We all kind of cringe. Not to say that we're so much better than that person and we wouldn't do it in that same situation. But when we see it, we don't go, yeah, that's cool.
Right.
We all go, he should just shake their hand. Like, sure, the ref made a good call, but made a bad call. But still, that's not how you act. I'm sure you've won some games when a ref made a bad call.
Right.
And you wouldn't have been happy if someone took off their helmet, threw it across the field, and said they cheated. They bought the refs.
So this is also somewhat of a think of others. You do other others as you would have done to you.
One of the concepts in the book we read, Obstacle is the Way, talked about when prisoners are in a prison camp and there's absolutely nothing they can do to better their personal situation. The ones who have actually, not gone insane and not broken down, who've maintained who they were, are the people who say, I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for my other fellow prisoners, to show them how to operate. Like, sure, I know that none of us are supposed to, break under torture, but, occasionally it happens. And it's not the end of the world. You shouldn't feel like dirt. You shouldn't feel like you need to kill yourself or anything like that. That was one of the lessons in the book The Obstacle is the Way, about the prison captain who ejected from his plane, realized he would be over enemy lines, and said, okay, that's it. My journey is over. From now on, my goal is to represent for all people who are going to be in prison, who are going to be. And but in doing that, that's how he got through it. Helping others help themselves.
That's a concept you just had me watch a video today that actually had to do with leadership, and that explained leadership a little bit differently than we normally hear it. That it's really not about rank. Rank gives you authority, but doesn't necessarily make you a leader. And I thought that was such an interesting concept, because we talk about leader. And so I thought that was a very interesting concept. Also, I want to get to why I put this man on our flyer. I don't know if you guys can see it too well, but you can also look on the thumbnail. This is the thumbnail flyer. That's Marcus Aurelius. Why is Marcus Aurelius important to self-determination?
So Marcus Aurelius is a very important person as far as self-determination, and especially Stoicism, because most of the people who you'll read about who are Stoics are former slaves like Epictetus, or prisoners, unjust prisoners like Reuben Hurricane Carter. And when you look at them, you go like, yeah, but they had to. It's like he wasn't getting out of jail anytime soon. So he had to, right. That person wasn't getting his freedom anytime soon. So he had to.
Right.
Marcus Aurelius is so important because he was the emperor of Rome at a time when Roman emperors were considered gods on earth. He didn't have to do anything. He chose. And he didn't choose because someone forced him to. He chose because he determined this was the best way to live. So he inherits all this power from his stepfather, the former emperor, which he then shares with his half-brother. His half-brother is a lunatic. And he deals with the fact that he's sharing authority of the most powerful empire on the planet with a lunatic. Then Rome has a plague, and 5 million people die back in ancient times. So, imagine how many people died from Ebola, and we lost our collective minds about it. Could you imagine if that was 5 million people? Then an ally of Rome gets invaded. Rome then has to come to this person's defense. And Marcus Aurelius, who has no war experience, at the age of 39, finds him, who could have sat behind a desk and just led from behind, dons the red cape that Roman emperors wore since the days of Caesar, puts on the uncomfortable boots, and lives in tents on the front lines with his soldiers. None of this he has to do. So it's so important to understand, like, he was determining that this is what he should do. And that was a Roman emperor. That was a person who literally could have just had slaves do anything for him for the rest of his life. And all those problems I just named, he could have said, that's not my problem. But instead, he took on the burden because he said, he determined that's what's best for me. So I feel like that's what makes him so important. So in our lives, when we have the ability to kind of be like, that's not my problem, it's like you're going to have that thought. You might even say it out loud. It's not my responsibility. But if not you, then who? If we all take that approach, then that's what makes the world a worse place. So that's what makes Marcus Aurelius so important. He didn't sit around and go, why me? Why 4 other emperors have such peaceful times? Why does everything else just go their way? Why am I the first one to encounter all these obstacles? He was like, no, good that it's me. Good that it's me, so I can show everyone. There needs to be an example of what happens when it doesn't all go your way.
And he also wrote down all of these thoughts, right, in a book that would later be Meditations by
Yes,
Marcus
that's
Aurelius.
very important. While he was on the front lines in that war, he kept a journal where he was basically reminding himself, like, this is the way. This is the right way. It's not just, like, no one is forcing me to do this. I'm doing it because this is the best path. This is the best option. And those writings later became meditations. So it's just proof of concept that they still are applicable so many years later, centuries,
Yeah.
millennia.
So what would you say people should do in their journey to, be like practice self-determination and stoicism? What should people read? What is the first step that people should take? We've learned from a radio show that you've done with a personal trainer that, it's not always good to be like, next month, that's when I'll start doing X. So, and as we know that it takes 21 days to make or break a habit, what should people do? What should people start off doing?
Well, for example, if you want to, let's say, start and you have a very on the go type of lifestyle, you're always in a different city. It's like, okay, it's going to be difficult because most people who get in shape, they kind of like, figure out a way to like cook the food that's healthy that they enjoy, and they develop a routine. And it's tempting to look at that and then go, I can't do it because I don't have what they have.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, yeah, the other emperors had a good reign, but you're not having that happy go lucky time of it. Sometimes you got to don the red cape, put on the uncomfortable boots, and go on the front line. It's like, if you know for a fact that you have to go to Atlanta next month,
Mm-hmm.
you don't say, I was gonna eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner and walk for 30 minutes a day, but I had to go to Atlanta. It's like, no, you're going to be in Atlanta next month. You can find out what stores are by your hotel. You can find out what area, if there's any paths to walk, any loop trails. You can look in advance for healthy dinner options, and you can bring your own snacks for lunch. You are not I feel like, and this is a more of a mental health and physical health thing. It is so you will rest so much better at night when you feel like, I'm not a person being shaped by my circumstances. I am a person who is shaping my circumstances. It's like you really just fall asleep, and then you just wake up, and it's like you get up and you have like a purpose. And that's just, there's no amount of money that someone can give you that can give you that sense of purpose. Only you can create that for yourself.
Mm. And it's interesting too, because like when we talk about self-determination and stoicism and stuff, we've talked about people that are in prison, or people that might be business owners watching their building burn, or even Roman emperors. It doesn't matter where you are in your life, what you're doing, you can just practice self-determination or get to a point where you want to be. Right? Whether it's for your physical health, whether it's just, you know what I mean, losing weight or getting healthy, getting that beach body, that ideal beach body, or, whatever you want to do in life, you determine your own, now, especially when you're adult, you know what I mean? We determine our own circumstances. But even if you're a kid, you can change the way you react to the circumstances if you can't control them. So it's always important to know what you can control and what you can't control. And to kind of wrap this up, do you have any last words before we go on to the couple interview? Because we're going to show you guys how to practice stoicism and self-determination and stuff in a relationship, and how to do it together, by not just holding each other accountable, but also holding yourself accountable.
So if you're looking for a way to kind of put this into proof of concept, it's self-determination is kind of what happens when your expectations align perfectly with reality. And lack of self-determination, feeling like you have no agency, feeling like you have no control, is when your expectations are drastically out of line with the reality. You know, when a child or anyone, but especially a child, goes on an airplane for the first time, if you say to them, what do you expect being on an airplane to, like, they're something radically what that experience is really like. And then when they get on the plane and they have to just take off their shoes and experience turbulence and run and delays on a runway, they may rightfully feel disappointed if no one curbed their expectations.
Yeah.
You know, you want to let someone know before they step on Delta Airlines, like, you are not about to get superpowers.
Right.
What you are doing is taking the fastest and, statistically speaking, safest way to Chicago from Maryland.
Right.
That's what you're doing. You're getting on a really big cab with a lot of other people. You're like taking the biggest Uber pool in the world in the air. That's what this is. This isn't turning into Superman.
Mm.
And then that person's expectations for what they expect to do get in one big Uber pool. Once they Delta Airlines, reality is very closely aligned. So then they have self-determination. They don't feel like something's happening to them when they experience turbulence. Mm-hmm. Versus if they thought they were going to develop superpowers when they got on an airplane, and then all of a sudden they feel shaky and bumps in the air and their stomach starts hurting, and they're going to rightfully feel like, I have no control of my situation. I'm a leaf blowing in the wind.
So not only can we practice, you know what I mean, like changing our perception of things, but as you were talking about earlier and as you're talking about now, we can also help other people control their perceptions by preparing those that might not have as much self-determination as we do, or just helping those along in their journey as well.
Right. When you say to your daughter the truth about that flying, when she says, I want to feel like a bird.
Right.
You go, no, you're not going to feel like a bird. There's going to be more like a cab ride. You remember when mommy took that cab and those other people rode with us? It's going to be like that, but like way bigger and in the air.
Yeah.
So then when she gets on an airplane, she's not upset that she doesn't feel like a bird.
Right.
Because her expectations are lining up with reality, and that's how you get self-determination.
Mm. Oh my gosh, I can't with the S10. So I got the new Samsung S10, and the battery life is amazing. But you know why the battery life is amazing? Because the screen stays on for like 0.3 seconds. And once again, we can choose to be annoyed about that, or we can be like, well, there's a reason the battery lasts all day. And maybe I just put down my thumbprint and just keep going on with my day. So one of the things Justin and I have been doing is every night we've been trying to make sure we ask each other some simple questions about our day or about the previous days. And it's just what we've learned in a video. And so we're going to do that, or at least some of it, whatever we feel like sharing publicly, but still honestly here. And also, if you guys have any questions or comments for my guest or for myself, you can leave them now during this last portion. I mean, you could have left them at any point, but if you want to, you can leave them now. And also, if you've liked it so far, be sure to leave a like. All right, so I'm going to start asking you first. We're just going to go back from yesterday and today. Did we do this on Wednesday?
I think so.
Okay, so what did what are some things? And the questions are, it says, one of the best ways to become more disciplined is to scrutinize yourself and find your weak spots. And it's really about practicing this like every night. And if you don't have a significant other or someone else that you trust, you can do this to yourself at night just before you're drifting off to sleep. Instead of being on your phone watching the YouTube videos for the 20 minutes, you could be reflecting on your day and figuring out what you've done well, what you haven't done well, being honest with yourself, and also forgiving yourself and being able to move on. So, Justin, what have you done well the past 2 days?
What have I done well the past few days? I have, for the past 2 days, done a pretty good job of making sure I don't go hungry, and that being hungry doesn't affect my attitude, and then therefore I'm not more testy with people than I ought to be. Although today I did not do a very good job of that because I woke up and I had to run to the NBA immediately. So then I didn't get to eat while I was enduring that. And at one point in the line, I may have been a little testy, but the past 2 days I was good about it.
Okay.
What have you done well?
What have I done well? Well, I think I did a good job of thinking about your feelings and your perspectives once I thought about your feelings and your perspectives. So we were going to do a should I or shouldn't I, but we weren't really sure when we were going to do it because, we've had busy schedules the past couple of days, and really on the debates that just happened, the Dem debates. And, I was just like, I had brought it up, and then I waited till like the next day and was like, okay, are you ready to do this? And then Justin was just like, we didn't really talk about this. And I was like, no, we did. Like, I mentioned that, that this is what this was all for. And yeah. And so then he gave me his side, but I just like gave all my, things that actually persuaded him to get onto my side. But the time we basically switched positions then. And I was like, well, you know what? You're right. You want to do this well. And so we should wait. And so I think I did a good job of, once I realized errors of my ways, is apologize and take responsibility and considering your side. And then I did that again well this night. Couples fight, but it's how you deal with them that proves the strength of your relationship. And so we were having just like a little couples thing going back and forth. And he was about to play poker. And instead of continuing the fight and continuing to text him a long thing when I knew he was just about to play poker, I decided instead to tell him good luck. And like, okay, like I know that we still have issues, but we'll deal with this another time. And I just want to give you good luck and stuff right now and let you know what I mean? And not let our fight be affecting your play. So I think I did that really well. Okay, next question. Talking about self-determination, so I'm not going to complain about this game. Where was your discipline tested?
Ooh, where was my discipline tested? Probably when you were, trying to get me to tell you my reasons, and I didn't want to tell you my reasons, but it had the perverse effect that once you, did the quote unquote right thing, it then made me do what you wanted anyway. So it was just shows you the how like proof of concept, how effective it really is. It's like when someone throws down their controller and yells they cheating, but then when you lose, when you go good game, you can have an impact on them. It's like if you throw down your controller when you lose and yell they cheating, then it's this never ending cycle. But you can be the person, like you can align your expectations with reality and say, I'm not always going to win. So then when you lose, you can just say, good game. Don't throw your helmet across the field and blame the refs.
And that's one of the things of the video that you showed me today, was when they were like, your day, you don't immediately be like, okay, now I'm busy, I got to go rush off into this meeting. You actually wait and hear what their response is. So you saying that I was actually trying to do something, you know what I mean, changed your perception, is what you're saying.
Correct. So yeah, that like tested my discipline, and but I choose to look at it as a good thing. I think I passed.
Right. Okay. And usually after asking this question, like we'll encourage each other to still talk more and ask anything else. But for the sake of time for this, that's why I'm not saying, we're not asking each other like anything else. What else did you do well, or what else tested your judgment? But generally, it's good practice to not just accept your first answer, but also if you're self-reflecting, or even if you're self-reflecting with someone else, to ask yourself or others, if you're doing this with others, anything else, because some people just might need that little push. And also try to make it a judgment free zone. So even if you might have your own perceptions, like also be judged for yourself. So even if you're,
I don't know, I think the refs really did blow that call and cost you guys the game. It's like, nah, it's like still, even when you're having these conversations, it's like that may be how you feel.
Yeah.
You may feel like, nah, I think you had every right to throw that helmet because that ref, like, he must have been paid off.
Or, man, I really don't. I feel like the way you acted was wrong. Like, if they're saying they're already wrong, there's no need to pile on. And if they're saying that, you know what I mean, but after this, I did X right, there's, keep it judgment free, because that creates free flowing conversation.
So where do you think your discipline was tested?
My discipline was definitely tested when like trying to do work and stuff. Wasn't as disciplined as I needed to be with trying to get stuff done one day. So then, of course, that just creates more the next day. And then I was also there was a form that I need to fill out. And the way they sent it, I saw it was a PDF, and immediately it was just like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to do X, Y, and Z. And I did way more than I needed to do. And that kind of tested my discipline, because I was like, when I saw how easy it was, I finished the form in like 10 minutes. And that they had actually already done everything that you need to do, and that it was editable, which I had never seen before. And now I'm like, okay, in the future, I'm going to have to check for that. But so my discipline was definitely tested there. It was definitely tested in our, like, couple fights, and which is resolved now. Yeah, which is resolved now. But because we're not going to sit here and say we don't have fights and But yeah, so my discipline in those areas. Okay. And of course, it's being tested when technology doesn't work right, or when it works just as they want it to, but that's not how I want it to work. So what did you do bad?
Oh, what did I do bad? I waited until the very last minute to do my Real ID MDOT renewal. And I had notice of this since May 31st. And I waited until today, like June 28, 2019. And I only got my act together because the NBA is closed tomorrow and closed on Sunday. And Monday we have an ongoing obligation, and then Tuesday the radio show, and then I only have until the 3rd to get it done. So it was now or never. But waiting until today was definitely not good. That was bad.
Okay.
What did you do bad?
I think what I've done bad is sleeping in a little too much. Like, I could have stayed awake this morning and not communicating with you well enough as well. Could have stayed up this morning instead, like cleaning my room, trying to get the stuff set up for the show, that kind of stuff, earlier than I did, instead of waiting until like the last minute. And then even if, things went the way they went during the day and stuff, at least then I still could have been like, okay, well, I've still done this. We could have taken a longer walk later on, that kind of stuff. So yeah, that kind of stuff, I just need to work on still trying to wake up and stuff at a decent time, not waking up at noon. Like, okay, if you wake up at 8:30, you don't really want to be up at 8:30. You don't really have anything to do, but maybe still just get up because you've woken up. Really. Things does as well is what did you do? What did you do well? So that you're honest with yourself about things you did well. And the video mentions you can take that what you did well into the next day. That you can ask yourself, like, how can I bring what I did well into the next day? And so that you're also being honest about what you did well and not only just beating yourself up. So the next question to that end is, how can you improve? Yeah, I saw it before the screen went out.
How can I improve? I definitely better way of documenting my ideas because I'll have them, I'll think about them, and then by the time I decide or I convince myself that I'm ready to write it down in some profound way, it's like the passion is gone. And I mean, obviously things like this help out. We might even I was having the idea while you were phone back on, you might even want different parts in like 5 minute, 10 minute or so segments, throughout the week when we don't have videos going. I was also thinking, how could I improve? When you, Caitlin wrote a song, and then she asked me to help arrange it, and I arranged it in a format that like gave her a lot of different, turn it into a song or leave it as a verse, but I didn't communicate that with her. I just sent it over, and then when she didn't see the wisdom of my plan, felt some type of way. However, I was not some leaf blowing in the wind. I had the opportunity. I did call her. I did say, did you check the email? All I then had to say was,
yeah,
the rest of it.
Yeah. But I think you were also off put because I was like, okay, I'll check it when I get off, get done work, even though that day, Wednesday, I didn't do, most of the stuff that I was supposed to do that.
It's very, very tempting to do that, to say, because this person is not on their game, is not doing what they're supposed to do, I'm not going to do what I'm supposed to do. It's like, no, that's not how it works. It's like, if you get robbed, you want your stuff back, you report it, you report the robbery. Now, if the police absolutely investigate the case, then that's, and you don't get your stuff back. But if you never reported it, you never would have got your stuff back anyway.
That's true.
The only way you get your stuff back is if you report what you lost and you happen to get an officer who cares and tracks your stuff. But if you never report it, it's impossible for you to find the officer who cares.
That's true.
So how do you think you could improve?
I think I can focus better. And one of the things is actually doing work at work and not doing anything else. And, just working while you're at work, maybe not checking your phone so much or falling down the rabbit hole of Facebook and Twitter and things like that. Even though that's part of my job as a social media director, there's ways you can try to curb that. And I think it can also improve by just trying to plan out the show more so that when these technical difficulties arise, it's not like, oh my gosh, the show's supposed to have happened. Or I don't give myself an excuse to be like, well, I mean, I haven't been fine, so, So I think things like that, and getting up earlier so that then I do more during the day. So then when it comes time to do stuff at night, then I'm able to do that kind of stuff. So Justin, right after people are done watching this video or any other videos on our channel they may want to watch, where should they start with self-determination?
The practical proof of concept that you can do today, as far as leadership, it's like, no, you're not going to snap your fingers and be the next president tomorrow. You're not going to snap their fingers and become the boss of your organization tomorrow. You can't snap your fingers and change the world. But what you can do is there's definitely tomorrow going to be a person on your right and a person on your left. And at some point, they may behave in a way that what you understand and empathize with is is not appropriate. Is definitely not the optimal way to handle that situation. And what you can do tomorrow, like starting tomorrow, is not chastise them for being a crybaby. Understand that they feel like they've been dealt a bad hand and they are acting out because of it. So what you do is the next time you're in a situation where you feel like it would be obvious to that person that you've been dealt, or just when it's obvious to you that you feel like you've been dealt a bad hand, don't act like that. Act the other way. You know, when your computer shuts down for seemingly no reason and you have to have it out with, and you're having a hard time getting a hold of tech support, don't go like, oh, don't cuss, don't say they're cheating, no one's cheating. Why? I mean, just stay on hold. Just stay on hold with tech support. Don't whine, don't complain. And by doing that, the person on your left and the person on your right, when their computer goes out, when they have to, be on hold with tech support, it'll be human nature that they will be embarrassed to throw down the controller in front of you, having seen the way you approach that situation.
Not to mention, you're probably also influencing a third person, and that's the tech support guy. On the other hand, you'll probably make his day whenever I'm, like just being kind or just overly patient. What they see as overly patient, having to deal with people all the time in any customer service situation, whether I'm at an airport or in a Verizon store or no matter where, they'll be like, "Thank you," and you're just like, "What for?" What? And they're like, you've been so patient. Like, even if you don't think that you're being patient, whether you're in T-Mobile, like we've been told that before. Oh yeah, they were so good. They were so patient and stuff. And we're like, we were patient. We didn't. But when you're just like kind and stuff to people in these positions and whatever, like you make their day.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I feel like we usually do it on accident. Yeah. We happen to accidentally be shaping our circumstances instead of letting our circumstances shape us. But me and Caitlin have had the experience where we were in a restaurant or a place that gives food and they were having all kinds of issues. And when they would come to us and go, "We're so sorry. We're so sorry," we would just be like, "We understand." Yeah. But the reason why we were, of course, so gracious is because we were enthralled in our own activities of our conversation, whatever we were doing at the moment, that we didn't even notice how long it had been and how delayed the service was.
Right.
But in the process, we ended up, making their day by being the only customers who weren't throwing a tantrum.
Right. But I mean, we can also do that with more self-determination. Thank you so much, Justin, for being here, for being my guest. I'm so glad that he agreed to be on the show and do this with me. And yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
I was going for the cheek, but next to it. And, yeah. Thanks for being on the
show. That's your plan?
That's Bobcat's plan. All right, so we're done being a couple of bots. No, I think I've been streaming for a little while. My computer decided to die, so I don't know how long it's been. But next song is or the last song is Kelly Clarkson, "Stronger." What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Or we might do another song after that. But I think we've been streaming for a little while, so I don't want to stream too much. Yeah. Next song. Oh yeah. So I think my Bluetooth died. Of course, that's my fault for not charging her, or for her just dying, no matter the reason. But alright, so try this again. You know the bed feels warmer, sleeping here alone. You know I'll dream in color and do the things I want. You think you got the best of me, you had the last laugh, but you think that everything good is gone. Think you left me broken down, think that I've come running back. Baby, you don't know me cause you're dead wrong. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Stand a little taller. Doesn't mean I'm lonely when I'm alone. Doesn't kill you makes a fighter. Steps are even lighter. Doesn't mean I'm over cause you're gone. Doesn't kill you makes you stronger, stronger. Just me, myself, and I. Doesn't kill you makes you stronger, stronger. Doesn't mean I'm lonely when I'm alone. You heard that I was starting over with someone new. They told you I wasn't moving on over you. Didn't think that I'd come back. I'd come back swinging. Tried to break me, but you see, it doesn't kill you, makes you stronger. Stand a little taller. Doesn't mean I'm lonely, cause I'm alone. Doesn't kill you, makes a fighter. Footsteps even lighter. Doesn't mean I'm over, cause you're gone. Doesn't kill you, makes you stronger, stronger. Just me, myself, and I. Doesn't kill you, makes you stronger. Stand a little taller. Doesn't mean I'm lonely when I'm alone. Thanks to you, I got a new thing started. Thanks to you, I'm not the broken hearted. Thanks to you, I'm finally thinking about me. You know, in the end, the day you left was just my beginning. In the end, what doesn't kill you makes you. Doesn't mean I'm lonely when I'm alone. What doesn't kill you makes a fighter. Footsteps even lighter. Doesn't mean I'm over cause you're gone. Doesn't kill you makes you stronger, stronger. Just me, myself, and I. Doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Stand a little taller. Doesn't mean I'm lonely when I'm alone. Stronger, stronger, just me, myself, and I. Doesn't kill you, makes you stronger. Stand a little taller. Doesn't mean I'm lonely when I'm alone. When I'm alone. And that was that. So thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. Even if it's after the show, you can still comment your opinions, your comments, your questions, since Justin is part of this channel. We'll get to respond to any comments that you have. So make sure you leave them down below if you made it this far. Also, thank you guys for the 2 likes, and thank you so much for the support for my Cleveland video. I forgot to say this last week, but we've gotten about 40 views now, and also about 9 likes. So thank you guys so much for all the support on that. And don't forget to subscribe to help us reach. We're 30 subscribers away now from 300, but at the 1,000 mark, I can live stream in a different way again. So if you want to see that, if you want to see more, if you like this interview, be sure to give it a like and also hit that subscribe button. And thank you guys so much. And yeah, Thanks for all the views, thanks for all the love, thanks for all the comments and that you've done. It's karaoke live, I hope you had a good time. Next week is another one. So thanks for all the views, thanks for all the love, thanks for all the comments and that you've done. It's karaoke live, I hope you had a good time. Next week is another one. Every Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'm going to try to do the pop without it messing up. Here we go. Do it very slowly. Woo! Kisses. And